back to the Doctor Who Marathon. I'm your host McEdam, and today we're going to be talking about The Invasion by Derek Sherwin, from a story idea by Kit Palmer, the creator of the Cybermen, and directed by Douglas Camfield. This story has episodes 1 and 4 missing from the BBC archives. It's 8 episodes long. And this was actually the first story that got the animated treatment. This time it was done by, I believe they're called Colgrave Animation Studios, which previously they did this film, Scream of the Shulker. That's fantastic if you want to pick that up. It's not canon anymore, so we're not going to be talking about it. But it's there if you want to think. And if you want me to actually talk about Scream of the Shulker, please let me know. I'd love to talk about it if people are interested. But anyway, The Invasion. This is an 8-part adventure that, spoilers, features the Cybermen. I mean, this is a story from 1960s, so, you know, it doesn't really matter about spoilers. Loads of people have seen this one. Now, a lot of people seem to really like this story. It is always considered up there as some of the best Doctor Who stories in the show's history, up there with Genesis of the Daleks and Earthshock and Blink. And it does a lot of new stuff for the show. For example, these Cybermen designs, they are probably the most known versions of the Cybermen. This would be their last adventure with the second Doctor, and the next time they would appear would be in a fourth Doctor adventure with the same design, and about 6 or 7 years later, and they won't get a proper redesign until the 80s, making these the longest lasting Cybermen designs, even though they only appeared in 2 stories. But these, but also as well, this story introduces UNIT, the Unified Intelligence Task Force, a military organization dedicated to aliens and extraterrestrial stuff. And it became a huge part of the show in the 70s, especially in the early 70s when the Doctor, we'll get onto it when we get to the third Doctor era. It also has the return of Alistair Lethbridge-Stewart from The Web of Fear. Now here he's been upgraded to the Brigadier, which is the role he's known for, and most people just call him the Brigadier. So it has a lot of firsts for the series as well, a lot of first moments. It's also the first story that was script edited by legendary Doctor Who writer Terrance Dicks, one of my favourite Doctor Who writers, who was a script editor, which is kind of like a subservient to the head producer, Peter Bennett. So a lot of this fantastic detail trivia about this story, and a lot of people really love this story, having it being a precursor to the show later on down the line, and being one of the defining moments in the series. And I absolutely hate to do this, because a lot of times it's either I agree with the populace on a Doctor Who as a good story, or I disagree on a story that a lot of people don't like, and I try and give it a reappraisal on this marathon. But here it just didn't do anything for me. One of its main issues I have is its structure. This is an 8-part adventure. However, it feels like 2 stories being sewed together, because the Cybermen actually don't appear until the cliffhanger for part 4. You might think that I have issue with the first 4 episodes, because it's basically just build up for the Cybermen. However, the first 4 episodes is what I really like about this story. It has this very James Bondy thriller, espionage feel to it when you get introduced to UNIT. Our first time, we don't actually know about them yet, so they kind of like just follow the Doctor in a car, and they don't say anything, and they walk out, and so it's like a thriller, like a noir, like these like detectives and stuff. And this probably has one of the best soundtracks for the series, which I think is odd. It has the best music, but I don't think it's used very well here. There's some bits where you think the music should be a lot more tense, but they play a more relaxing song, which is just fantastic for more downbeat moments, especially when we get talk about our main villain for the first half. But it's like great music, but the music isn't used well. So maybe that has something to do with the editing, I think. Now, whilst this going on, we have, when the Doctor lands on Earth, they go and try and see someone they knew from the Web of Fear and the Abominable Snowman. And one of my big issues is here with when they get introduced to a new character, this photographer. Now, Zoe, I'm stressed enough. She has been a fantastic companion before this. She's been active in the storylines. She's been used very effectively in terms of the plot and keeping the story going. And she's also been a very fun and lovable character to just hang around with. Here, she is missing through the action of part 1 and part 2 by the fact that she is put to hell because this woman wants to take photography of her, and she's just completely missing through most of the good moments until she goes to the main bad guy's lair, and you get some cool scenes with her. But I think this story, the way she's written is very not as good as she was before, in my opinion. I don't know if it's a popular opinion, but yeah, I can see a lot of people are going to be not liking this video now because The Invasion is considered a classic. And I think it's fair enough. It's got some really great atmosphere moments with, like I said, with the James Bond stuff. And our villain. Now, in the first part of the story, we get introduced to Tobias Vaughan, a guy who owns this big tech lab, and one of their main products is a radio that they've designed, and the Doctor and Jamie take one. Now, he is A-class Bond villain. Like he has like traps and layers, and he asks the Doctor to come into his office, and he's very, he's got like he doesn't have a twirling mustache, but if he did, he'd be twirling it. He's so just James Bond villain. That's the only way I can describe it. Like if he had a cat, he would be stroking it. He's very civil, and he works very well with his henchman, Packer, which I can't just say is the most greatest name for a henchman, Packer. Now Packer is more like a sadist. He just wants to cause like pain, and there's some really great moments where Tobias is basically like trying to restrain him, basically, but it's like he kind of threatens people, but it's like I can only hold him for much longer, so work for me and stuff. So they are fantastic villains, and when the Doctor gets introduced to them, and there's a great conflict between them, it's just, and the way it's shot and the way it's handled, very nice, very. The story looks gorgeous for the most part. So you're probably thinking, McEdam, you say you don't like this story, but so far you've just been praising the hell out of it, apart from Zoe. So what's the problem? My main issue is the Cybermen themselves. Now, for the first 4 episodes, we get this really cool espionage thing, and I absolutely love it, and I wish it was just this. But when the Cybermen come in, the story takes a massive drag, in my opinion. When you see the Cybermen, you think, right, the story's going to really kick pace now. We're going to have them stomp in the cities and the thing, or at least them to do something. But they don't. The first time you see one of them, and then they're inactive for the most part, and you hardly see them until a scene with the tunnels. And then they built up the invasion. I mean, the story is called The Invasion. They keep building it up. And the plan is, in these radios at in Tobuscus Vaughan's his inventions, there's a device that basically puts everybody in Cyberman's power. And they say like a mind control. However, when you actually see it, it just basically puts them like in a coma, basically. And when the invasion happens, it has one of the greatest cliffhangers where you see the Cybermen coming out of the sewers, and they come up and they're in London just walking around in an army of them, and you're like, wow, this is going to be epic. One of the biggest Doctor Who stories. Next episode, they're hardly in it. And it's strange, because it's like, they make a whole fuss about the invasion, about the Cybermen attacking, and when they actually appear, it's like they're like a non-existent entity. And I was thinking that would have been fine if it was like any other villain. But the fact it's a Cyberman story really is a letdown. So in my opinion, when we get to part 4, and it basically becomes the end of part 4, and we get the Cyberman story, it really drags, in my opinion. I can remember when I watched this the first time, me and the person I was watching with this, where we were really enjoying it, and we were like, wow, this could actually be one of the best Doctor Who stories out there. And then when we get to maybe part 5 or part 6, we were just looking at our watches, like, come on, get it over and done with, man. Which was a really shame, you know. And the fact it's 8 parts long, just really, no. It should have been, if I was an editor or like the producer of this, here's what I would do to make this story better. Cut everything to do with the Cybermen out, make it 5 parts, have the 5th part the conclusion. That's all you need. Great, fantastic espionage. You don't need the Cybermen. Sorry if you can hear that. So, yeah, that's The Invasion. I don't have a lot to say about it, if I gotta be honest with you. I thought it was a rather dull experience. I might even put it there as one of my weakest Doctor Who stories of the 60s. Not bad. Like I said, it's got a lot of great moments in it. It just wasn't doing anything for me. So, overall, I'd say give it a try. A lot of people, I am in the minority here. It is a hugely popular story. So if you want to watch it, please do. I don't want to turn anyone away from this or change anyone's opinion. This is just my thoughts. But it was really not doing anything for me. So there you go. That's The Invasion. So join me next time where we get introduced to one of the most silliest, stupidest robots in the show's history, and there's not really much to talk about it because there's not much big moments in the next story. So join me next time where we go into the Crotons. See you next time on the Doctor Who Marathon. See you then.